Everywhere you look around, there's a logo connected to a company, whether big or small. And today, we are going to get into the origin of Kellogg's. John Harvey Kellogg and Wilkie Kellogg were brothers from a Seventh-day Adventist family in Battle Creek, Michigan. They had little education because their parents expected Christ's second coming before they would need it. But John Harvey still managed to get a medical degree. He was a fanatical advocate of what he called biologic living, which involved vegetarianism, no alcohol or tobacco, no tea, no coffee or condiments, no sex, and minimal quantities of eggs and dairy products. In his mid-20s, John became president of an Adventist sanitarium at Battle Creek, which was a combination hospital and a health spa for the elite and famous. John practiced his principles on the patients, who found the diet so boring that he, his wife Ella, and his brother Will Keats started experimenting with cereals. One day in 1894, Will and his brother were in the process of cooking some wheat for a type of granola when they were called away. When they returned, the wheat had become stale. They decided to force the tempered grain through the rollers anyway, and surprisingly, the grain did not come out in long sheets of dough. Instead, every wheat berry was flattened and came out as a thin flake. After the success with the patients, Will persuaded his older brother to serve the food in flake form, which they called granose. Granose was the world's first flake cereal product. Corn Flake made from toasted maize followed in 1898, and a version with a longer shelf life in 1902. At the time, the standard breakfast for the well-off was eggs and meat, while the poor ate porridge, farina, gruel, and other boiled grains. The Kellogg's at first sold their products mainly by mail order to their ex-patients, but then began advertising in newspapers and on billboards, while rival entrepreneurs invaded the promising market and copied the Kellogg lines. They set up the Sanitas Food Company and tried out products which included slow-baked cereal granola biscuits, wheat flakes and corn flakes, peanut butter, and a cereal-based coffee substitute. The Kellogg's pioneered the process of making flake cereal. Because of the commercial potential of the discovery, Will wanted to keep it a secret. However, John allowed anyone in the sanitarium to observe the flaking process, and one sanitarium guest, Charles William Post, copied the process to start his own company. That company became Post Cereals and later General Foods. Post made grape nuts based on the granola biscuits and a cereal-based drink called Postum, patterned on the Kellogg's coffee substitute. By 1900, his Postum cereal company was making $3 million a year. This upset Will to the extent that he left the sanitarium to create his own company. Will eventually bought out his brother, and in 1906, Will founded the Battle Creek Toasted Cornflake Company, which later became the Kellogg Company. Kellogg's Corn Flakes was one of the earliest and still remains one of the most popular food cereals in the United States. Through innovative advertising techniques and improvements in the quality of the cereals, the company prospered. The present name was adopted in 1922 after the company began making cereals other than cornflakes. Kellogg's produces cereal and convenience foods, including crackers and toaster pastries, and markets their products by several well-known brands, including Corn Flakes, Frosted Flakes, Pringles, Eggos, and Cheez-Its. Kellogg's mission statement is nourishing families so they can flourish and thrive. There were more than 40 cereal companies launched in the United States in the early 1900s. John Harvey Kellogg was not interested in business, but in reforming American eating habits. His brother, on the other hand, was a born businessman and resented playing second fiddle to his more flamboyant brother, from whom he bought the rights to the manufacture of cornflakes. He spent heavily on advertising, including a campaign telling the reader to wink at your grocer and see what you get. What you got was a free sample of Will Keats cornflakes. The campaign increased sales by a factor of 15 in New York City, and the company was rapidly profitable. But John Harvey's Sanitas Company continued in business, and the brothers fell out over the Kellogg's name, which they both used. In 1911, Will Keats succeeded in a lawsuit to gain exclusive use of the Kellogg's name in the United States, later extended to international markets after a legal battle that lasted from 1916 to 1921. Will Keat had started selling bran flakes in 1915 and All Bran in 1916, and his firm was the Kellogg's Cereal Company from 1922. Will Keat had been joined by his son, John L. Kellogg, who invented All Bran and streamlined the company's operations until his father forced him out in 1925, partly for moral reasons after John L. divorced his wife and married one of the office girls, and partly because John got interested in oat-based products, which Will Keat disapproved of. None of John L.'s successes lasted long under his father's critical eye, until in 1930 when the old man gave a majority interest in the company to his charitable organization, the Will Keat Kellogg Foundation, ultimately donated $66 million to it. His company was one of the first to put nutrition label on foods. He also offered the first inside-the-box prize for children. Kellogg said, "I will invest my money in people." He died in Battle Creek in 1951 of heart failure at the age of 91. Kellogg's products are manufactured and marketed in over 180 countries. Kellogg's largest factory is at Trafford Park in Trafford, Greater Manchester, United Kingdom, which is also the location of its UK headquarters. Other corporate office locations outside of Battle Creek include Chicago, Dublin, Shanghai, and Querétaro City. Kellogg's holds a Royal Warrant from Queen Elizabeth II and the Prince of Wales. In 1931, the Kellogg Company announced that most of its factories would shift towards 30-hour work weeks from the usual 40. Will stated he did this so an additional shift of workers would be employed in an effort to support people through the Depression era. This practice remained until World War II and continued briefly after the war, although some departments and factories remained locked into 30-hour work weeks until 1980. Kellogg's had a slogan from 1969 to 1970 that they aired on Sunday morning TV shows, and it said, "Kellogg's puts more into your day." From 1969 to 1977, Kellogg's brought up small businesses including Salada Foods, Fern International, Mrs. Smith's Pies, Eggo, and Pure Pak Foods. Kellogg's was later criticized for not diversifying further like General Mills and Quaker Oats were. In 1983, Kellogg's didn't spend as much money as its competitors on advertisement and product development, and it affected them by their shares dropping in the U.S. markets, and Wall Street analysts were saying it's a fine company well past its prime. Such comments stimulated Kellogg's chairman William E. Lamothe to improve. So instead of focusing on children's cereal, Kellogg's focused more on the 80 million baby boomers, emphasizing cereal's convenience and nutritional value. Kellogg's helped persuade U.S. consumers aged 25 to 49 to eat 26% more cereal than people of that age ate 5 years prior. The U.S. ready-to-eat cereal market, worth $3.7 billion at retail in 1983, totaled $5.4 billion by 1988, and had expanded 3 times as fast as the average grocery category. Kellogg's also introduced new products including Crispix, Raisin Squares, and Nutri-Grain biscuits, and reached out internationally with Just Right, aimed at Australians, and Genmai Flakes for Japan. During this time, the company maintained success over its top competitors, General Mills, which largely marketed children's cereals, and Post, which had difficulty in the adult cereal market. In 2001, Kellogg's bought the Keebler Company for $3.87 billion. Over the years, they bought Morningstar Farms and Kashi divisions, or subsidiaries. Kellogg's also owns the Beer Naked Company, Natural Touch, Cheez-It, Maury, Austin Cookies and Crackers, Famous Amos, Garden Burger, and Plantation brands. Presently, Kellogg's is also a member of the World Cocoa Foundation. In 2012, Kellogg's became the world's second largest snack food company after PepsiCo by acquiring the potato chips brand Pringles from Procter & Gamble for $2.7 billion in a cash deal. In 2017, Kellogg's bought the Chicago-based food company RX Bar for $654 million. In the UK, Kellogg's also released the Will Keat Kellogg's brand of organic, vegan, and plant-based cereals such as granolas, organic whole grain, wheat, and super grains with no added sugars. In 2018, Kellogg's decided to cease their operations in Venezuela due to the economic crisis the country was facing. On April 1st, 2019, it was announced that Kellogg's was selling Famous Amos, Murray's, Keebler's, Mother's, and Little Brownie Bakers, one of the producers of the cookies for the Girl Scouts of the USA, to Ferrero Spa for $1.4 billion. On July 29, 2019, that sale was completed. Kellogg's kept the Keebler cracker line and replaced the Keebler name on their crackers with the Kellogg's name. In June 2019, Kellogg's announced their next generation Kellogg's Better Days global commitment, focusing on hunger, children, and farmers with specific targets to reach by 2030. In October 2019, Kellogg's partnered with GLAD by launching a new limited edition Altogether cereal and donating $50,000 to support GLAD's anti-bullying and LGBTQ advocacy efforts. The Altogether cereal combined 6 mini cereal boxes into one package to bring attention to anti-bullying. In January 2020, Kellogg's has decided to work with suppliers to phase out the use of glyphosate by 2025, which has been used as a dyeing agent in their products. John Kellogg, after splitting from his brother, dedicated the last 30 years of his life promoting eugenics. He co-founded the Race Betterment Foundation, which dealt with co-organized several national conferences on race betterment and attempted to create a eugenics registry. Alongside discouraging race mixing, Kellogg was in favor of sterilizing mentally defective persons, promoting a eugenics agenda while working on the Michigan Board of Health and helping to enact authorization to sterilize those deemed mentally defective into state laws during his tenure. John, still in his belief system, mutilated a lot of young boys and girls, hoping it would stop them from self-masturbation. John, later in life, also corresponded with George Washington Carver on putting peanuts and sweet potatoes together, and later on, he patented many foods with the use of peanuts. He also created veggie meat, soy milk, colonic, and many other medical and food inventions that he didn't patent. John Henry Kellogg died in 1943 of pneumonia, and after he died, a lot of medical practices were banned and considered extreme as of today. Kellogg's, as of 2021, net worth is around $14 billion. If you enjoyed this video and want to be updated on new brands and companies, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more companies coming up.